Look at this beautiful speech from the son of our land, Ibrahim Traore.
Honorable delegates, heads of state, leaders of nations, distinguished representatives of peoples great and small, I greet you not as a career diplomat, nor as a man bred for banquet halls and handshakes. I do not come to you speaking the rehearsed language of polished politics. I come to you as a soldier of my people, as a guardian of a wounded land, as a son of a continent that has carried the cross of the world, yet has never worn its crown. My name is Captain Ibrahim Traore, President of Burkina Faso, and today I speak not only for the 22 million souls in my nation, but for a continent whose stories have been twisted, whose pain has been ignored, and whose dignity has been repeatedly auctioned off at the altar of foreign interests.
You have just seen he has recognized the land of Africa. That is the thing, the soil of Africa. What does it come to your mind when you hear him recognizing the soil of Africa? Number one, as an African child, you need to know that African is so much blessed. With what? A lot of resources. A lot of resources. That is the reason as why you're seeing the Western people, they have no peace anymore, because they have seen the African people are now waking up. Guys, I need you to understand this speech very well. This is one of the speeches that has been given out by President Ibrahim Traore, and I have loved it, I have enjoyed it,
Africa is not a beggar. Africa is not a battlefield. Africa is not your experiment, your puppet, your warehouse of raw materials. Africa is rising not to kneel but to stand. And today I say before this great assembly of nations, Africa will not kneel, one on the false generosity of global politics. For decades you've sent us aid with one hand while extracting our lifeblood with the other. You build wells in our villages while your corporations drain our rivers. You donate vaccines yet patent the cures. You speak of climate action yet continue to fund the very forces that burn our forests and dry our lakes. What kind of generosity is this? The kind that feeds the mouth but silences the voice. The kind that keeps a man alive just enough to keep him dependent. We are not blind to this hypocrisy. Let me be clear, we are not ungrateful for sincere humanitarian assistance, but we reject a global order that disguises exploitation as partnership. We reject financial institutions that lend with one hand and steal sovereignty with the other. Africa no longer wants charity. We want justice. We want control over our own destinies. Too on the chains of colonialism and its modern descendants. Our wounds did not begin with us. They were inherited legacies of an empire-building madness that saw us not as humans, but cheap as cargo labor tools. My ancestors were not consulted when maps were drawn with rulers and compasses in Berlin. The borders of Burkina Faso, like those of many African nations, were not carved by our ancestors, but by men who had never stepped foot on our soil, who knew nothing about languages, our tribes, or our spirits. Today, colonialism has a new face. It wears suits, it hosts forums, it signs contracts in Geneva and Paris and Washington. But it still takes without consent. It still dictates instead of dialogues. It still silences instead of listening. If you want to talk about peace, then let's begin by unlearning the arrogance that peace is something only you can teach us. 3, on resource exploitation and the myth of development. They call us developing as if the theft of centuries did not set us back. As if the gold from our lands, the diamonds from our rivers, the oil beneath our feet did not build the very skyscrapers in which this assembly sits. Let us speak plainly. Burkina Faso is rich, Africa is rich. Rich in minerals and culture and wisdom and youth. But you have taught us to measure richness in GDP and export value. You call it development when a foreign company owns 90% of a gold mine on our land. You call it progress when your security forces guard cobalt mines but not our children's schools. That is not progress, that is piracy with legal documents. From now on we will define development on our own terms. Development that puts children in classrooms, not minerals on cargo ships. Development that respects the land, the people, and the soul of a nation. 4, on sovereignty and interference. Why is it that when an African nation makes independent choices we are called unstable? Why is it that when we seek military cooperation outside the colonial sphere, we are labeled a threat? Burkina Faso has chosen to walk a path of sovereignty that is not a threat to peace. It is a declaration of adulthood. We are no longer under your guardianship. We are no longer your junior partners in diplomacy. We are a free people. If a nation chooses partners that respect it rather than exploit it, that is not rebellion. That is wisdom. Let it be known, no foreign power will dictate the alliances of Burkina Faso. We will build relations based on mutual respect, not historical guilt or present-day intimidation.
As you have listened to him, I just want to give you a simple breakdown. Number one in this breakdown, President Ibrahim is saying in this speech that Africa, we are no longer beggars. That's why he is requesting, that's why he is in the forefront leading the Africans. He is now a pan-Africanist. Yeah? You know, he's a pan-Africanist. He's trying to lead all the Africans to follow his steps, to wake up and know it's high time that we need to come up with the policies that policies that our people are able to, or rather that are able to suit the interests of our people. Let's listen to this part again.
Africa is not a beggar. Africa is not a battlefield. Africa is not your experiment, your puppet, your warehouse of raw materials.
Yes, as you have heard, African is not for beggars, and he has articulated it very well. Now, it is like he has already known what happens in the West. Most of these well-wishers who come, or rather let me say some of the well-wishers who come from the West just to come and support African, most of them, they usually try, in Africa we call it wash. This is the kind of business that is not legit, but you're trying, it's just one way, a mechanism of trying to clean your money. For instance, you steal money from your country and now you come, you bring it to Africa under charity work, so that you clean. When it comes to Africa now, the country of Africa, for instance, let me give an example of Burkina Faso. They're able to see like, like Isaac Obomba is a good guy from France, you know, he has come, he has decided that he's going to build 7 boreholes, you know, each borehole is costing like 50 million, you know, but at the end of the day, it's not what it is. It is Isaac Obomba and one or the other. He's just trying to clean his money so that Africans cannot be able to understand that Isaac has stolen the funds from wherever part of the continent that is coming from. And this is one of the things that President Ibrahim Traore has articulated very well in this video. He says, Africans, we are no longer beggars, whereby well-wishers will continue to come and clean their money using our name, in the name of we went to help vulnerable Africans. In addition to that, we are in that state whereby we are able to make our own vaccines. You see, as compared back in 2020, when we had COVID-19, and you saw South Africa wanted to start creating the vaccine, and it really brought a lot of wrangles. Why? Because someone somewhere, there's a mall somewhere that wants us to continue being dependent. They refused. There was a lot of resistance, and at the end of the day, this thing did not become successful. Why? It's because in one way or the other, the Western world has always wanted us to be there in the forefront, to depend on them. That's why now African nations, they're joining, they're coming up. I like it when I see the Western nations, they're now partnering together. It's now Gabon, Guinea, Ghana, Namibia, all of them, they are partnering together to ensure that the mall in the house is destroyed. So where are the other African leaders? While they know there's a mall in the house, what are they still doing? Why are they still sleeping? When are they going to wake up? Are they safe? When you hear in your house there's a mall, are you safe? Is your suit safe? Is your maid safe? That is the question that each one of us is trying to imagine. Some of African nation, like from the upper part of Africa, some people are trying to imagine, or rather, let me say, the sons of Africa who are still under these particular nations. They are wondering, when is our leaders are going to do the same thing what President Ibrahim Traore is doing? There was a lot of resistance when it came to making vaccine. It's because now the policies that have been created from the West, they have tied us up. Some of the nations, some of our nations, we know them, all of them, we know some, even if you don't know all of them, but majority of them, we know them. They are tied, their hands are very much tied up because of the kind of help, or rather help that they get from the West. You know, you're told we are going to sponsor you, we are funding you, we're giving you like this 2 million, this 2 billion to do this and that. But once you squander this money, after you have just finished the money, that's when you are told, now we gave you this, now for us we just need this and this and that. So you see, your hands are tied up. So that's why President Ibrahim Traore is telling us, wake up. Nigeria, the other day, they paid all their loan. And I don't know the kind of secret they used. Perhaps we need to talk to them and know what kind of strategy they used to pay all the loan. Like right now, they are free from debt. They are a free nation. And now they are able to conduct their business. So at the moment, again, it has raised question, what is happening? Are they do they want, is it that they want to do something like to join one and the only President Ibrahim Traore? No one knows what was their next move, because they have already paid their IMF loan. So who knows the next move? But at the moment, you know what? Nigeria is still behind France, but they have not benefited anything so far. No? They have not gotten anything so far. So, and we still are asking, why are they still behind them? Now, as we continue to analyze this speech from one and the only President Ibrahim Traore, he says what? We must reject exploitation by the West. He has given a brief but direct to the point that we should refuse exploitation. It's a matter of humanitarian, you know. It's a matter of being considerate. We can, as African, we cannot refuse being helped. We cannot refuse to be given some funds to do something, 1, 2, 3, you know. It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad deal, yeah. But at the end of the day, what are your intention of giving out this amount? What intentions do you have while you are giving out these funds to Africa? You know, it has always been, you give me this, I give you that, or I give you that, and then at the end of the day, you give me this. So that is the kind of thing that President Ibrahim Traore does not want to hear it anywhere. Yeah, he does not want to hear like, if you have decided you want to give something willingly to Africans, just give it out. Give it out with an open heart. And let it be known that you have given it to African. Let it be known that you have given it to Burkina Faso out of your willing heart. But you do not give it to Burkina Faso, but in return you want to get something big. President Ibrahim Traore says, we are no longer going to continue being your partners in crime. Leave Africa alone. Africa needs to make its own policies. Africa needs to be on its steps alone until when it will stabilize itself. Because if we continue depending so much on the West, that means there's no day we are going to grow. There's no way we are going to know, oh, kumbe, this is how the world looks like. Because you have always been, under something, yeah, you know. They don't want Africans to open their eyes. So that's why, if it's partnership for deals, let's do it business-wise, but not for us to be your puppet, whereby if you need this, that's when you come in to exploit Africa. We are not beggars. Africa is not poor. Africa is very rich. Burkina Faso is not poor. Burkina Faso is rich, but it depends with the kind of strategies and policies that you have established in your own country. That's why they need, or rather they want, to continue establishing the policies that are going to build their nation, the policies that are going to see other African nations, like the way these other nations from the West, not the West, but West Africa, have decided to do. It also says that we will no longer be your juniors forever. Yeah, we also need to be mature so that when we conduct our businesses, we conduct all the businesses as mature people. No, the same way business against business will conduct the business, the deals. That's how it's supposed to be. Not that you give me this, I'll give you that. So that is the spirit that is being cried for in Africa, led by one and the only President Ibrahim Traore, and all African, be it in France, be it in Germany, be it in Canada, from whichever part of the world that you are, we are all marching behind President Ibrahim Traore to see that there is change. And I believe this, or rather the time has arrived, time has come, just as how the late President Muammar Gaddafi had prophesied that one day Africa is going to be great. And I believe this is the right time for Africa to be great. So let us all wake up. Let's ensure the mole in the house dies, and we will surely be successful. My name is Isaac Pabomba, and for more of these updates, always ensure that you subscribe, you comment, and also you share. But the most important part is ensure you give your comments in the comment section, or rather you leave your comment in the comment section for me to know what you think about this whole situation. And also, if there's a topic that you want me to cover it for you, ensure you leave it in the comment section. See you